In the dusty fields of Willow Creek, one twin took a brutal beating from the town's cruelest bullies, but when her sister stepped out of the shadows, vengeance became a wildfire that burned brighter than anyone could have imagined. Dive into this gripping tale of loyalty, revenge, and unbreakable bonds. Subscribe now to unlock the full story and never miss a twist. In the small, sun-scorched town of Willow Creek, where the horizon stretched endlessly over fields of corn and wheat, the twin sisters Clara and Cora were as inseparable as the roots of the old oak tree that stood sentinel over their family's farm. Identical in their fiery red hair and freckled cheeks, they were known as the Miller twins, daughters of a struggling farmer and his late wife, who'd passed when the girls were just 10, now 16. They were the heart of the farm, working dawn to dusk, their laughter echoing through the rows of crops, a beacon of light in a town shadowed by hardship. But Willow Creek had a darker side, embodied by the Grayson brothers Jake and Cal, the two hulking, mean-spirited boys who ruled the local high school with fists and fear. They targeted Clara, the quieter twin, for months, mocking her patched overalls and the way she stuttered when nervous. Cora, the bolder of the two, always stepped in, her sharp tongue a shield for her sister's soft heart. One sweltering afternoon, as the twins walked home along the dirt path that cut through the abandoned quarry, the Grayson brothers ambushed them, their pickup truck roaring to a stop, kicking up clouds of dust. Jake, the elder, leered at Clara, his voice dripping with malice as he called her the weak link. Before Cora could react, Caleb grabbed her arms, pinning her against a rusted tractor, forcing her to watch as Jake slammed Clara to the ground. The blows came fast, a fist to her ribs, her fascia. Clara's cries muffled by the dirt. Cora screamed, thrashing against Caleb's grip, but he only laughed, his breath hot and sour. Clara curled into a ball, blood trickling from her lip, her eyes pleading with Cora, who felt her heart splinter. When the brothers finally tired, they spat on Clara and drove off, their laughter echoing like a curse. Cora knelt beside her sister, tears streaming down her face as she helped Clara limp home, vowing silently that the Graysons would pay. At the farm, their father, weathered and weary, cleaned Clara's wounds, his hands trembling with rage, but he urged the girls to let it go. Justice in Willow Creek was a luxury the poor couldn't afford. Clara, her face bruised and spirit battered, nodded weakly, but Cora's eyes burned with a fire that refused to be doused. She spent sleepless nights plotting, her mind a storm of ideas, each more daring than the last. The twins' bond was their strength. Clara's gentle wisdom balanced Cora's fierce resolve, and Cora knew she couldn't act alone. She whispered her plan to Clara under the cover of darkness, their hands clasped beneath the quilt their mother had sewn. Clara hesitated, fear flickering in her eyes, but Cora's determination was contagious, and soon they were scheming together, their voices low and urgent. The plan hinged on the town's annual harvest festival, a night when Willow Creek came alive with music, lights, and the crowning of the Harvest Queen. The Grayson brothers, predictable as vultures, would be there, drunk on cheap beer and their own arrogance, lording over the event like kings. Cora and Clara, identical in every way, devised a trap that would use their likeness to outsmart their tormentors. They spent weeks preparing, stitching identical dresses from their mother's old fabric, practicing every move until they could swap places seamlessly. The festival night arrived, the air thick with the scent of fried dough and anticipation. Clara, her bruises faded but her heart still tender, stayed in the shadows, while Cora, wearing the same dress, approached the Grayson brothers near the bonfire. She played the part of Clara perfectly, a stuttering, shy, her eyes downcast, alluring Jake into a false sense of power. "Wanna talk somewhere quiet?" she murmured, and Jake, grinning like a wolf, followed her to the quarry, Caleb trailing behind, eager for another chance to dominate. But as they reached the dark expanse of the quarry, Cora's demeanor shifted. She stood taller, her voice steady, and when Jake lunged, she dodged with a grace honed from years of farm work. From the shadows, Clara emerged, her face a mirror of Cora's, and the brothers froze, confusion twisting their features. The twins moved as one, their movements synchronized, disorienting the boys in the moonlight. Cora landed a kick to Jake's knee, sending him sprawling, while Clara swung a heavy branch, catching Caleb in the chest. The brothers, caught off guard, stumbled, their bravado crumbling as the twins worked in tandem, their rage a choreographed dance. But the twist came when Jake, scrambling to his feet, pulled a knife, its blade glinting with menace. Cora's heart skipped, but Clara, ever the thinker, had anticipated this. She tossed a handful of quarry dust into Jake's eyes, blinding him, and Cora wrested the knife away, pinning him to the ground. The twins didn't stop there. They tied the brothers to the same rusted tractor where Clara had been beaten, using ropes from their farm. As the brothers begged, Cora leaned in close, her voice cold as winter. "You'll never touch us again." But the plan wasn't just about revenge, it was about exposure. Clara had secretly recorded the brothers' taunts during the ambush weeks ago, her phone hidden in her pocket. The twins had edited the audio, blending it with their own voices narrating the Grayson brothers' cruelty, and at the festival, as the crowd gathered for the Harvest Queen crowning, they hacked the sound system, broadcasting the recording across the town square. Gasps rippled through the crowd as Jake and Caleb's voices boomed, admitting to their brutality, their laughter chilling. The townsfolk, who long feared the Graysons but stayed silent, turned on them, their whispers growing into demands for justice. By the time the sheriff arrived at the quarry, alerted by a tip from Clara, the brothers were humiliated, their power stripped bare. The sheriff, a man who'd ignored the Graysons' antics for years, had no choice but to arrest them, the evidence undeniable. The twins stood together, watching the patrol car disappear, their hands clasped, their bond unbreakable. Back at the farm, Clara's gentle smile returned, and Cora's fire softened, their victory bittersweet. They'd won, but the scars of Clara's physical, Cora's emotional would linger. Yet, as they sat beneath the oak tree, the stars above brighter than ever, they knew they'd rewritten their story. The town, too, began to change, inspired by the twins' courage, and whispers of their triumph spread, a legend born from pain and retribution. The Grayson brothers, once untouchable, faded into infamy, while Clara and Cora, the Miller twins, became a symbol of resilience, their names whispered with awe in Willow Creek for years to come. But the final twist lay in Cora's pocket, a letter from their mother, found while sewing the dresses, urging her daughters to fight for each other, no matter the cost. It was as if she'd known, all those years ago, that her girls would face darkness and emerge stronger, together. And so, under the oak tree, they vowed to keep fighting, not just for themselves, but for every underdog in Willow Creek, their legacy a flame that would never die.